So I'm pretty happy. I have a customer with me on stage. That is the company called Zeiss. They're based out of Germany, headquartered, and they're going to show us how they have been customizing Salesforce1. So just to get a quick idea, who of you has been alive already in 1969? Just show. Okay, so I don't ask the next obvious question, who's using glasses, because I can see that. The reason I'm asking it, because you have probably most likely been using Zeiss technology before, because the first camera on the moon was from Zeiss, and most of the eyeglasses are from Zeiss, so you should know the Zeiss company, but those that don't know Zeiss, you'll learn later. So with me on stage, I'm very pleased to have Alex, who is the global CRM head at Zeiss, and Charlie, who is the CRM lead for North America. And with no further ado, I'll hand over to Alex.
Thank you. So I'm really excited. This is my first Dreamforce. I'm already on stage, so this is really cool for me. I want to briefly talk about Zeiss a bit more. Please grant me to use the opportunity to show you this innovative company. I love to work for this company. So 80% of your mobile devices somehow we have produced. And even more than that when it comes to mobile, and we want to discuss today about mobile, we created our own lens just for the digital world. As you can imagine, the caveman didn't look at this distance, so we find out it creates some eye stress for you. So that's why we came up with an innovation just to help you to use mobile devices. And today I want to show you an innovation that blows your mind when it comes to mobile devices. Charlie and I will both work for Zeiss Vision Care, which is the lens provider. And as you can see, we are really an international company. We have to work around the global. We have to access data 24 hours, 7 days. So obviously, we decided our CRM product comes out of the house of Salesforce. And that's enough of our company. So Charlie, won't you tell us about the agenda?
Yes, let me grab a microphone. So, our agenda for today is the big 3 E's, in case you didn't know them already. We're going to educate you on what it means to go mobile, because it means a lot, folks. Let me tell you, my hairline can tell you. Emphasize, right, the problems we face, because it's a little tricky. If you think it's just kind of a slam dunk thing, it's really not the case. And then finally, we're going to really go into detail of our sort of how we utilize images, how we integrate a map, how we bring it all together to really make our Salesforce more efficient and effective using Salesforce. So, thank you.
And Charlie decided that the stern German that I am, that I should educate you because he said it's more reliable if he does it in his American way, right?
Absolutely.
So when it comes to mobile, I thought myself, hey, now I have a mobile device, I'm mobile. And I realized that's not everything. So when you just look at this picture, you will realize that your phone is 1/8 of the size of a desktop screen. But as long as we don't minimize the font size we have the same amount. We just have a snip of the amount of the information. Or maybe we invent a kind of magnifier so that we can look more information up. So that's one thing. And a lot of people tell it's not true, but I say size matters, right? So that is just one thing. Then the next thing when it comes to the mobile environment, that is a desktop of one of my developers. And they have 3 screens. They can have an Excel file here, then they have Salesforce, and then they have the Developer Force homepage over there. They have their mobile device where they can check. And even if they are working like in a big office and it's a bit loud, they just plug in some earphones and then they are good, right? So they have all the information. They can concentrate on their work. So that's quite good. But when you're a sales rep out there, you are on the move, and Salesforce forced me to say this, you have those micro moments when you look at your mobile device, and they are literally on the run. So they take a taxi to whatever train station, then they move in a train, they have, it's loud there, right, it's noisy. It's somewhere at the airplane looking for some connection, running from one gate to the other. Then they are actually at the place where they have to be and then looking for those optician stores. In some cities we have like 5 or 6 optician stores right next to each other. So which one is it? Don't forget the traffic lights, don't forget the traffic, otherwise you will be hit. And then last minute you want to check on the account, right, on your customer, what happened there. So that's a bit tough. And then we just have 1/8 of the screen, a bit tricky. And then of course you go into the office and then you have to be the nice, charming sales rep that you are and say, hello, everything is nice, how are you today? So that's quite different to your, let's say, quiet desktop version. And then we have this issue. When I work, I have a stable internet connection. Well, it's good. Even the company internet connection sometimes is slow, but it is nothing compared to the life out there, right? You know what I'm talking about. You have to run from one hotspot to another. You never know when your LTE or whatever is done. If you work like in a hospital, there is no internet connection at all. So you might have some problems when it comes to loading. And talking about loading, we all know our pages, right? They are full of information. We can scroll down, easily to do. Even if I want to click on the hover menus up there, I go directly to my related list, to my cases, to my opportunities, to whatever custom object you created. But I'm not quite sure if you have experienced this, but when you are in the mobile world, Mark invented something that he calls tap to refresh. I love that. And if you have an unstable internet connection, it takes you forever. So keeping that in mind, I came to the conclusion when we are talking about going mobile, it's all about the access of the internet, of the web speed. It's all about the right amount of information you want to display, because you cannot display every information. And also when it comes to the human part of it, it's about how can a sales rep concentrate on what he's reading. So you must like really plinking the information you are presenting, because he has to look at the traffic lights, at the traffic, and so on. Let's say this is the general problems we face when it comes to mobile, but we as a company, we of course had some challenges of our own.
Yes, I'll be speaking to you on our challenges. So basically, Alex calls me up one day and says, Charlie, come on, you represent North America, you guys are the best, you gotta go mobile. I'm of course feeding into it, I got an ego like anybody else. So we go mobile, and basically I'm thinking, okay, how do I jam this gigantic org that we have into a small space, right? And I'm thinking to myself, okay, how am I gonna bring this all together on a 1/8 size screen and make it make sense to my sales reps, right? So the first thing I did is I'm like, there's tons of fields I can get rid of, right? So I called together my friends from marketing and my friends from customer service and my friends from sales, and I said, guys, who wants to delete some fields, right? Raise your hand, don't be shy. And they all told me I was crazy. So I waited a week, I talked with Alex, and I downloaded this cool app from the App Exchange called Field Trip. I recommend you all get this app, by the way, right? And it tells you how many records are populated for each field, right? And I found fields where 6 records are populated. So I went up to the people and I said, guys, I don't want to name names here, but this field only has 6 records. Can't we all universally agree this should be deleted? No, no. You can't delete anything, folks. You can't cut your page in half, no matter if you think you can. Everything is super, super important, in case you already didn't know. So then I tried again, and I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to shift this around, right? As Alex here says, the Salesforce mobile page loads in chunks, right? And once you get to that breaking point and it says loading again, most of my salespeople are out, right? Your app's broken, Charlie. It doesn't work. Okay, super. So I'm just going to put everything above the first load line that's important, right? So I called all those folks back together again. This time I brought food and some drinks and stuff, trying to woo them a bit. And I said, who thinks you should be at the top of the page? And then, you know, obviously you'll understand your place based on the field trip and want to be at the bottom of the page, right? well, almost got things thrown at me. People were so upset they had the audacity to say that someone was more important than somebody else, right? So this really didn't work for me, right? So now I'm kind of stuck here because I got this gigantic page, and as we like to say, I have lap disease, right? Long account page, right? I've got lap disease to the 9s here. So I'm looking, and I'm thinking, okay, Charlie, let's just take a fresh approach here. Woosah. Let's go to the related list, right? So I'm thinking, okay, Salesforce is smart. The related lists are kind of different in the mobile environment. They're just kind of a click to the right. I'm loving this, right? And I'm thinking, okay, maybe I'm just dense because the related list in production seems to tell me all these details, and the related list in the mobile environment is just kind of plain Jane here. I have to click on it to kind of get in there. So I'm thinking, all right, maybe this is just second level thinking. Maybe I haven't got to it. So I isolated it down to our cases object, right? So I went in there and I said, first of all, what if they just click and read everything? The head of sales wouldn't even return my call when I proposed that action. So I said, okay, not going to work too many clicks. As my German friends like to say, you got to keep your click budget in check. Didn't even know the phrase till I met them. So number 2, I said, you know what, maybe the mobile dashboards are kind of intuitive, or these related lists because they're mobile. You know, maybe there's just magic in the word mobile. You slap mobile on it, and it becomes easier to read somehow, right? Well, lo and behold, no, not really, and it was 2 clicks and way too hard to remember, so my salespeople didn't like that either. So I went to the old workflow, our friend, right? I had my IT dudes build me this custom email that would synthesize all these objects and put it in one email, and I'm like, you guys love this, right? Didn't even open the email. The click rate was like 20%. So I'm really kind of out of options here. I'm really getting low on ideas here, and, you know, I'm thinking, how in the Sam Hill am I going to go mobile? The world's looking at me here. There's a lot of people depending on me. So I said the only thing I could think, let's go to Germany, right? So I said, I've seen Beer Fest about 1 billion times on Comedy Central. I'm all over this, right? So I say, Alex, I'm coming over. He says, great, we're going to have a summit. You'll stay late after. We'll collaborate. We'll have an awesome time. Let's do this, man. So I'm like, sweet. This is what is in my head, right? This is what's in your head, probably. Okay, so I get off the plane. I currently live in San Diego. I know the tan, you probably can't tell. I'm from San Diego, okay? And I get off the plane in my flip-flops and board shorts expecting, you know, some lady to hand me a beer the size of my head, like any normal American. And it is 0 degrees. Germany in November is not tourist time, folks. Don't go. I'm just going to let that out there. So then it's snowing like this. There's a picture, and I'm thinking, oh, good gravy. I don't know if my flip-flops are going to make it in this. And then finally, you know, I went to the beautiful world city of Munich. And you're thinking, Munich? It's got to be great, right? They have Oktoberfest festivities there. Alex was kind enough to book me a room. This is my room from Munich. This is a real picture. I thought this was some kind of way to say, pick it up, Charlie. You're really not delivering on your promise to the company. He calls it the Idea Suite. I call it Cell Block D. It's still a point of contention to this day. So I hit the streets, right? I'm out of luck here. They'll tell you a funny story where I thought there was a town called Ashford. And it's really the German word for exit. But needless to say, I'm kind of drifting through Germany here, looking for ideas, and I kind of stumble across these signs, right? And I don't understand any German, folks. 0, 0, 0. But I know this means do not smoke, right? And then I see this bad boy here, and I couldn't even pretend to say that phrase if I wanted to, but I realize if I park in this area, I'm going to get towed, right? And then I see my favorite symbol in the world, right? I see the magical beer garden symbol, and I think to myself, this is it. This is it. I don't understand any German. I'm freezing to death. My company thinks I'm falling behind the mobile space. But I know if I go in this place, they're going to have a beer. I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to get some food. It's going to be a merry time. And then kaboom. It hits me. Pictures, right? Pictures. Pictures can be synthesized stuff of all types, right? We all see these pictures, these symbols, these icons in our everyday life, and we already know what it means. And I'm like, how can I use this to synthesize all that information in my Salesforce org so that I can have little pictures to represent entire related lists or field sets in one way? And That's when I turned to my German friend after I sort of gave him some hash over my hotel room and said, Alex, how do we do this?
And pictures really are worth 1,000 words. And when you look at the mobile environment, you already found out we are actually working with pictures. Everybody knows what this is. I don't have to explain. I have not to explain any of these icons. We're used to the phrase icon, right? And I don't need to translate them. And even Salesforce is already doing this for years. So the solution we were looking for was already on the floor. We just had to pick it up. And that's what we did. We just trained our sales reps on some icons. So as you can imagine, the bad boy here with the case, with the headset, that's like cases are open. Better do something. The targets, yeah, obviously is a target. So you see, we even try to get as natural icons as we can get. Then the red over there, that's like a contract's going to expire. So you want to renew the contract, right? It's all about the money. Revenue up, that's self-explanatory. And then the qualifier lead, I must say we really looked for that bastard because it's really hard to find a natural icon for a lead. But if you have one, come to me after the presentation. I'm more than glad to get a new one. And then with an icon, you can represent stuff. So I don't know how your marketing guys are working or how your revenue or your clustering, your segmentation is working. Normally it's like a collection of fields, right? If a customer is like above this revenue and he has that instrument and he has that and he's so long in the company and, then he qualifies for something, right? And really, do you expect a sales rep to get through all these fields and then collect them and do the math in his head? I don't think so. So why not let us do the math in a formula and then just show the icon? And the same is with the cases. Really scrolling down to the related list. I mean, I know how these related lists look like. They look always the same, right? You never know, is there a new one or not? So why don't you put a formula behind if equals, I don't know what, like in the last 30 days, and then you have an icon. And that's the whole magic. You just work with these icons. They can aggregate information. They can combine, even through certain objects, they can combine information. And what I really like about it, it's they propose action. Normally when you go to a customer, sometimes you know what to talk about, but sometimes you don't. So if you have these icons, you know exactly what you want to discuss with your customer. And maybe you also find out to which customer you want to go, because some of them have urgent cases or an expiring contract. So that's like really easy to follow up. And then you have to act. All you have to do is to act. And I love my sales reps. They are good at talking. They are good at selling. So let's help them to do what they can do best. Talking, selling, not doing the math in their head and trying to figure out whom to visit and why to visit. And we all love that, right? We go to the live demo because normally when in such classes, I hate if they just show PowerPoint presentation. It's all schmoozy boozy, so we want to really show you how it looks like.
Right, and by we mean Alex. Because I would say let's do slides in case something technically bad happens. So bear with us, folks. I'm sure this will go smoothly. But Alex is bringing up on his iPad. Oh, wunderbar. Okay, take it away, Alex. We're already ready. I was going to rant for you. Hit it.
So this is actually the desktop version. As you can see, it's really hard to do the desktop version on an iPad, I can tell you. But you see, there are my icons. They are there. So, okay, that's a lead. It's a case. Revenue's up. Expiring contract. So we definitely want to talk with this guy, right? We don't have to scroll down. We just load the page. It's there. It's so easy. But folks, we were talking about doing the mobile thing, right? And this is the desktop.
Absolutely.
So why don't we go into the mobile world and hit it from there? That's the same page in a mobile version. So you see it works alike. And I see you like this. But that's not all. I'm a pictorial guy. You know, I don't like go through lists and stuff like this. I never can, when I read an address, I don't know where it's located, unless I'm born in that city. So our developers who are here in the room and get the whole credentials for this, they invented something very cool, and we will show you.
Suspenseful internet, folks. Right?
Oh yeah, do we love this nice new function from Salesforce? I don't know what this disclaimer, it pops up. Check it out, I don't like it. But that's it. That's all, and this is life. I mean, the blue dot is where we are at the moment. So you see all customers around us. But I think it's still too much, right? If I'm a sales rep and I want to plan a day, after this presentation I'm done, I want to visit some opticians and say, hi, I'm the crazy guy from Germany. That is too much, right? We want to narrow this down. So we came up with a thing that we call the filters. And I know you love the filters.
Absolutely.
So the filters are actually list views. And we all know what the good thing about the list views is, right? You can create them on their own. Your sales rep can create his own list view. There's no coding involved. We punished our developers to make it as administratable as possible. Because those guys, they are quick with a solution, hard-coded. And then you go like, do you really want to spend 2 days if there's an additional customization needed? So they did a great job. So I want to go for the emeralds. So we have a segmentation here, and the emeralds, these are the ones with the high potential. So I want to talk with them. But maybe, Charlie, you want to talk more about the filters, because I know you love the filters.
Folks, these are the coolest things since sliced bread. To think that a sales rep could build a list view on their own and have it real-time be available in a map as a filter is very cool. And what I tell people is everyone probably uses Yelp, right? And you know Yelp has their own filters. 5 stars, this many dollar signs, open at this time, right? Well, this is better in my head, because this is like being able to say to Yelp, Yelp, I want somebody who's in this city, who has a nachos the size of a small Cadillac, that has a 99-cent menu, that's open late at Tuesday nights, because that's when I like my Mexican food. It is this second-level ability to customize, because at the end of the day, folks, and I learned this the hard way, only the sales reps know best. So let them build their filter to look at the world through their lens, right? And they will embrace it more. If you try to force down, this is how you should look at it, emeralds this way, it doesn't take as well. So that's why we pushed our developers to really build these filters. And the other magical thing that Alex didn't mention is the first 2 filters leverage list views on the account object, but the third filter leverages 4 other objects, like cases, like our visiting object, where they can leverage list views from all these different segments. So imagine marrying an account filter with a case filter, right? All of my emeralds that have an urgent case open right now, so you can troubleshoot real time. I mean, it's extremely cool, extremely powerful, and I just love them. So, sorry, Alex.
No, it's okay. And I mean, this is like an iterative process we did with the 4 of us. And the next evolutionary step was this bubble. You think about the loading times. You know, if you have to click through the customer and it loads again and then you get all the information. I said I want to have that directly on the map. Just load the map and there we are. And this bubble is like, it's
magic.
It's magic.
It is complete magic. Let me tell you a little bit about the bubble, if I may. So first off, at the top, you can see the customer's name, right? And that is clickable. I could click that, go right into the customer, look at all the other attributes of the customer if I wanted to. Right below that is the address. And we all probably use a map app to get from point A to point B. I used it like 6 times this morning just to get to this room, right? If you click on that address, it opens up your map app, right? So you can identify a target, get directions. The other thing you can do is identify a target and call them. You click on the phone number, it integrates right with their iPhones. You know, it says call, boom, right?
Won't work with the iPad.
Won't work with the iPad right now, but if they use it on their phones, which is really the way that they're going, right, we're all moving to a phablet, let's be real. I'm going to hold it. I mean, come on. And then our icons, right? So I've really taken all that information from the account page and boiled it down, right? That's representing like 3 related lists and like 6 fields. And I did it in like 4 pictures, right? So now you're saying to myself, okay, Charlie, so they say there's urgent cases there. Great, right? Are they going to click to the customer page and then click on the related list and then click into it? Which they should be thankful just to do that, but they really don't care, right? They just don't care. But if Alex would do me the honor of clicking on the customer service icon, boom, my cases, 1 click, low click budget. My Germans in the crowd, I can see them, they're loving it. So this is one-stop shopping, folks. This is a way to get in, strategize, see what's up, and then the best part is he just kind of glossed over that, but he just clicked the back button. He just clicked the arrow to go back to the map. And then he could rinse and repeat, right? He could click on the leads. He could click on any of these icons he wanted to, which he won't, but he could click on them and go to those different sections of the system, okay? And then below that, we've kind of taken our own bootleg stab at the actions, right? Everybody knows in the mobile layout, you've got those action buttons you can customize to create a contact and this. Well, here, we've just boiled it down to the 2 things our people do. They run a revenue report that tells you what products the people are buying, and then finally, a visit report, which is every time they visit a customer, they have to file this report. So, Alex, can you click the visit report link? So this takes them directly into edit mode on a record. So you can extrapolate this concept out to whatever your people do, right? We use a custom object, think activities, think creating contacts, think whatever. So we've tried to take the action bar, and we've tried to take our icon concept, and then we've tried to integrate it with all the cool, sexy things of the mobile arena that you already use on your daily basis, and put it in one succinct bubble. And that's not even the best part of the bubble.
Yeah, that's now the functionality that I love the most. You see this star, this gray star, it's not a rating. It's not like this customer is like a 1-star customer, 2-star customer. It's like the favorite. We all know the favorite functionality. And when we look now at San Francisco here, I said I want to have 5 customers, right? I want to visit. So I think Dr. Sino here, he's really good. I mean, I definitely want to visit this customer. So I add him to the favorites. I learned that favorize is not a word.
It's not a word.
It's not a word, okay. And now you see the beauty of this, because we just now checking here randomly customers, and this is life, right? I mean, that's how quick it is. So I saw one here. He looks like I want to visit him, and it takes a while, but that's okay. Oh, that revenue down and open cases, I want to take him. And, expiring contract. Yeah, we definitely want to take him. How much do I have now? 3, right?
Yeah, you got enough.
I got enough? Okay, I take this one. Yeah. And now you go like, okay, and now? I said, I look in my list that is called favorites, right? There are my favorites, and I apply the filter, and voila. There are my 5 customers. Isn't that cool? I think that's so awesome. I like that. That is, you cannot make life any more easy. It's not possible. It's like you've done your whole week planning within 5, 6, 7 clicks. That's it.
It is fantastic, folks. I always tell people, it's my job to kind of make those footholds on those artificial mountains people climb, but I don't tell them how to climb the mountain. This is you building a bunch of footholds and saying, climb the mountain however you want, right? And this favorites concept is just awesome. It lets them develop their own methodology for aggregating and grouping and tagging customers. So that's really second level.
Now we come back to the, what is it, a 7? Yeah. So the summary maybe, and I will let you have the map afterwards. What we learned the hard way, it's not just like download Salesforce1 and then you are done. That is just a mess, right? If you did this, you realized, oh boy, I have to do some work. So it's a project. You have to clean your address data. You have to come up with a strategy like we did, what you want to show in a mobile environment, what not. And you see out of this, we developed the icons.
And if I may, I will just tell you that we struggled a little bit with the icon concept as intuitive and as straightforward as you may think it is, because everybody wanted an icon, right? And you've got to be you've got to say there's only 5, there's only 6.
I lied to them. I said it's technically not possible to have more than 5 icons.
He's very cruel. He's very cruel. I tried to ration with them and tell them, but you guys got to sit down. You got to think maybe 1 icon per related list. If you want like a mental filter, you really got to be succinct in that. You got to measure 3 times on this one, because the minute you have to scroll horizontally or something, the game's over. I mean, I'm just talking about my salespeople. I know they're not your salespeople, but the game's over, right? So really take your time and think it out. And ultimately, guys, if you want to think of the mobile strategy, because I thought of it as a fat guy fitting in skinny pants. I mean, that's really what I thought of it as, right? But really, it's an efficiency maker. If you really sell it, if you get one of those marketing guys and get them a few beers, you can work on this spin. It's an efficiency maker. We've made them leaner, we've made them faster, we've cut down their clicks. So if you are trying to go mobile, I really recommend this strategy to you. Use these pictures and say, I'm saving you time, right? And your time's worth $1 billion a second because you're an awesome salesperson, right? Really, it feeds into them, they love it, they use it. I really recommend it.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, well, thank you.
Save time, make more money.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That's all we have. Niels?
So please come up front to the microphone, and I'll walk around with this microphone if you have any questions to the people from Zeiss. Looking forward to some challenging questions or some interesting questions, because I think has been a really cool story. I hope you all like it, and it's inspiring for you. And as said, please raise your hand if you have any questions, and we're happy to answer those. Okay, I'll come over. Yeah, so maybe you can take the microphone up there.
Budget, or did you record it? So when you're investigating this click budget, was there like a magic number or ceiling?
2 to 3. 2 to 3 clicks. Thank you. 2 to 3 clicks, and that's about it, right? They'll get into something, they'll do second level detail, and then you're kind of on borrowed time. You better have good content at that second level. Otherwise, 4 clicks was a death knell. So 2 to 3 clicks on the click budget. Yes, sir.
Can you talk a little bit about some of the custom development that went into either the performance of the app, and then what you wrote some of that code in?
Okay, well, our magic men are here kind of cloaked in the audience, and I won't point them out because they told me they would take down the app if I did. But basically it works like this. For the related list, you have to build triggers, right, that roll up the magic whatever onto the account object. And then from there, a simple formula field where you say, if this is greater than 1 or 0, then show this image that's stored in Salesforce's documents. I mean, obviously I'm minimizing it, and I apologize to my developers in advance, but that's sort of the technical idea behind the icons. Now the map, I'm unqualified to speak to, quite frankly, so I don't know if that answers your question, or if you were more interested in the map end. I've lost you, sir, but that's sort of how the icons work. And again, we tried to kick around formula fields, because you're thinking in your head, well, if the data's already kind of on the account object, can't I just do a formula field? And that's okay, but you're kind of beholden to Salesforce's formatting in the mobile arena, right? And suddenly, vertically, you're starting to scale down the page a bit. That's why we had that little Visual Force page inserted above the account page that sort of stores our icons. So hopefully that partially answered your question.
So I'm really intrigued in the map app. We've been looking at vendors and demoed GeoPoint this year, and we're probably going to have budget for it next year. Is that something that you guys built, or did you build it on top of another app?
Sir, maybe you want to step up to the microphone and say a few words? My developer, I'm sorry, he's going to hate me for this, but I don't want to leave you guys in a bad spot on this.
Okay, so what we did here was we went to with Google API for Google Maps, and this is a plain Jane Apex page, Visual Force page that has the map plugged in. There's tons of examples that you can download from, if you Google how to develop your own Google Maps with Visual Force pages. so you can get that, and then like he said about the info window, that was really the only development that we had to do that was heavy, just because we had to go and pull information that was asynchronous kind of calls to our database so that we can receive all the information. So I don't know if you've noticed, but when he pulled one of the bubbles up at the initial load, it kind of took a while for them to calculate. So it goes into the system and calculates then, but it's all Visualforce pages and Apex code, jQuery as well, HTML5.
What they don't tell you
more
is
questions after. I mean, we can technically answer some of them as well.
what he don't tell you is there is no more Google knowledge. So they were beyond. That's what they told us. They were beyond the documented knowledge in Salesforce1. So you have a clue where we are at the moment. Cool stuff.
All right, anybody else? How Americans and Germans work successfully together? I did get the beer.
Yeah, he did.
Thankfully. It's very good beer, by the way. I recommend it. Okay, all right.
No other questions? Thanks for coming.
All right. Thank you, everybody.